Welcome back. So now we have a user available. We just want to test if his hashed password is the same as the password plus the salt that's been hashed. Okay, so let's do that. We'll have to do it in a few steps. Step one is going to be just making a new method. Let's just call it Authenticate right here. That's going to be our new method that we want to build. And we're going to pass in the password, the plain text password right here, and the user to that Authenticate method right here. And let's just create that method locally. It's not something for now that I want to use from the outside. So I'm just going to make this as a local private method right here. It just returns true or false. Now, if the user is null, so let's just start there. If there's no user, if that's null, well, let's just return false. We do not actually able to log in right here, so let's just return false. If the user is not null, we can start doing some more things with our actual solution right here. So we'll call this the plain text password because this is not the hashed password. This is just a plain text password for now. Now, if the user is actually not null, we would expect that it has a password and a salt in here that we can compare against. So the next step is to kind of create the hashed password right here from the plain text. So let's just say hash password from plain equal, and then what we can do is we can use a way to kind of create a hashed password. And I'm again going to make a new method for that, hashed password, and there we're going to pass in the plain password and the user salt right here. So we'll pass those two informations into this method that will then return an actual hashed password that we can compare with. So again, go back to a previous video to see the steps that I want to do in order to get to this point right here where I'm going to get my password hashed. So here we'll return a string, and now we just need to figure out how we can actually, using salt and a plain password, create a hashed password. And I'm actually going to do it using Microsoft's own example right here, and there's a link in the bottom to get to this page right here. I want to use this converter right here that's going to use a bit of magic to take salt and a plain password and convert it into a hashed password from a 256-bit subkey. It's going to run 100,000 iterations to create this password, and it uses the AMAC algorithm or something like that. So crazy stuff. It really makes this password hard to unhash, right? Pretty much impossible to unhash. In order to do it, let's try and use this. So first we need a key derivation right here, and then we need to pass in the plain text password. There we go. We need to pass in our user salt. There we go. Now with both of these informations, we can now actually return an actual password. So now with this in place, we actually get back a hashed password. So now we have a hashed password available right here. And the next thing we can do is pretty simple. We can just say if the user's hashed password equals right here the actual new hashed password we get from the plain text, then we return true. So we can pretty much just return this right here. We'll just return that statement, and there we go. Now we know if the user has a password that could actually be hashed. We can make another test right here. We can say or right here we can say if the user.hashedPassword length right here is less or equal to 0, then we also return false. Or if the user.salt.length again equals to or less than 0, then we also return false. So now we cannot get to a point, to this point unless there's at least a salt available and there's also a hashed password available in our system. So that's kind of what we need to do. And now we've authenticated the user using a plain text password, and the user salt converted that into a hashed password. Now using that hashed password, we can now compare the hashed password in the database with the hashed password that we just got from the plain text. And that's how we do the login. So now if we have a right user with the right hashed password, we can then log into the system. So now we have Authenticate in place. We just need to test it, and we'll do that in the next lesson. So see you next time.